Welcome to Build Your Maverick Business, the podcast for underdog, outlier, and renegade entrepreneurs. Brought to you by Strange Creative Studio. If you dream of going off on your own and launching your rebel empire, but don't know where to start, you're in the right place. We'll teach you how to use mindset, branding, and practical advice to build a killer business and transform your world. And now, here's your host, founder of Strange, Alex Pitt.
All right, you lot, welcome back. I mentioned last week that I had to start and stop and re-record the episode because I got myself a little bit carried away, I'd say, with how much detail I was going into. And then I thought, nah, this is great. Let's give a little bit more value. Let's just try and break this down a little bit better. So we'll split it into two parts. Now, the reality of that, when I say it was last week, I haven't moved. I'm recording 2 episodes in one. And so I stopped that recording, thought, okay, good. Now I can just smash on with the next one. Now I'm in flow. Of course, I got 4 minutes into the next recording and then my fucking doorbell went off with my ASOS package. Opened the door. The man had somehow gotten through the exterior door and was stood right in front of me. And I screamed in his face and then apologised. And he just sort of looked at me like I was mad. Anyway, that's what's happened in the last 3 minutes since I finished last week's episode. Oh, it's all a bit brain farty, isn't it? Anyway, so just to recap, we are talking in this 2-parter about things to do, things to try. If you have created your products, if you've worked out what your services are, you've done a nice website, you've got yourself a logo, you've told your friends and family, you're doing a business, and then no one buys anything. Now, I just kind of want to recap, right? Just want to reiterate the fact that if this has happened to you, it does not mean that you're shit. It does not mean you don't know what you're doing. I mean, on some level, fine, but no one fucking knows what they're doing when they start working out a business, right? You just do what you can, and then you ask questions, and then you learn, and then you try something else. And then, step by step, all of a sudden, profit. And everything's great. And that is a huge simplification because there will be a lot of mental breakdowns in between there. There will be a lot of crying on your best friend or your mum and dad's shoulders or your partner's, whatever. There will be a lot of absolute confusion. There will be a lot of screaming into the abyss thinking, why the fuck isn't this happening? It's just a rite of passage, my loves, all right? Don't be mean to yourself. We're never mean to ourselves, are we? What do I say? Just have a think about what I said last week and about the few tips that I'm going to give you this week as well. Like I say, this is a very kind of top level simplification of all the things that could need some attention. But these are the most common ones that I see. These are the ones that come up time and time again. So I'm putting them all in one place for you, tying them up with a neat little bow. So we're getting back at it. This week, 3 more for you. And I'm going to go crazy and I'm going to change the order that I've put them in on my notes. I know, right? Fucking crazy. Okay, so this week, first tip, first thing to pay attention to. Is your imagery representative of the quality that you are selling? All right, is your imagery the best representation of how good your products or services are? Now, I say this, when I say imagery, I generally mean the visual representation of your brand, of your business. So I know I keep coming back to websites, but it's just the easiest way to explain it. Because to be fair, a lot of the inquiries that I see people making are about their website. Then people tend to reuse the same images on their Instagram. They tend to use them for POS if they have a store, etc., etc. Now, the one thing that I see happen a lot, and it makes me want to cry, is people who have made a beautiful product. A lot of these are handcrafted. They've made something and they take photos on their iPhone or on their smartphone, on their duvet, on their bed at night. I know that's really specific, but why the fuck is everyone doing this? The amount of dark, fuzzy, awful photos on a cheap fucking B&M duvet cover that I see, and those are listed on a website, and they're charging like, I don't know, like 25 quid for a keyring. It's like, okay. Let's take a little bit of a step back here. Perceived value is a thing. Now, I won't go too deep into this because I cannot cite my references. This is very much something that I read years ago about the psychology of how much people are willing to pay for things. And it's something like, people will tend to always go for the second cheapest bottle of wine on a list because they don't want to go for the cheapest because they assume it's going to be shit. Most of the time it's not, it's actually really nice. People tend to always go for, the middle priced thing out of three options because they don't want to buy the most expensive thing. They also think the cheapest is going to be shit. Now, perceived value is built from very many touch points. It can be how nice your website is, how many recommendations they have had from other people, if celebrities are using a thing, all of this sort of thing will help them decide in their mind whether or not something is worth lots of money. If you are just starting out, one of the easiest and quickest ways to convince people that your products are a bit shit is to take a picture on your iPhone on your fucking duvet. Very specific, I know. Now, there are lots and lots of different ways that you can take nice photos and still do them on your iPhone, all right? Just take them next to a window so you've got some nice lighting. Go onto any kind of photography website. Even Amazon has these. You can buy like kind of lino background textures, like a nice pretend marble background. You can buy all of these really, really cheap accessories that will just make your photos look so much nicer. But do not assume that it doesn't matter. It does matter. Because if you're charging a certain price for something, and I am going to assume that you need to charge that price for it because of the hours that you've put into it, because of the cost of your materials, etc., you need to charge a certain amount. But show people why it's worth it, all right? Just make everything look a little bit sexier, please. This is not just me being a design and creative whore, all right? It's a little bit. But that perceived value is going to be so off if your photography is shit, if your website is designed horrifically. People are just going to make assumptions about what your products are worth, your products or your services. Do not neglect your photography. Do not neglect your branding. Pay attention to all of that shit, okay? Thank you. So next mistake. Oh, I do love getting on a rant about these things. It's very cathartic. Next mistake. And I'm just going to word it like this because I find it quite funny. You are being a creep with your selling. All right, you're being a creep. And by that, I mean, imagine, and I remember this from like so many 90s and naughty shows, is that there would be this guy wearing a Rain-Mac that would walk up to you in the street and just pop open his coat and he's got like Rolexes all down the side and it's just like, hey, you want to buy a watch? Fucking creepy as hell, right? If you're walking down the road and someone comes up to you and says, hey, do you want to buy something? You're going to tell them to fuck off or run in the other direction because it's weird. It's weird and it's pervy and no one likes it. If you are randomly dropping into strangers' inboxes and saying, hey, do you want to buy something? Fucking weird. Don't do it. If you are running ads that is just specifically, here is my product, want to buy it? It's creepy. And it's just not effective, right? There is this stat, which is just like the main commandment for all marketeers, which is that people need 5 to 7. I think it might have gone up now, actually, with more research. But about 5 to 7 interactions with your brand or your business before they're ready to buy from you. If you jump straight in with the hard sell, people don't like it. People do not like being sold to. Now, there are ways around this, okay? If you are a service-based business, you can create a sales funnel. And the first step of the sales funnel is you give them something valuable for free. It's called a lead magnet. Strange has one. It is a branding checklist, right? If you don't know how to build a brand and it's all a bit confusing, it's just a few pages of think about these things. To get that, you have to get onto our email list. And then we start to send you some nice emails saying, hey, this is what we do. This is who we are. This is who Alex is, etc., etc. So it's just introducing your business, your brand to people to warm them up, to nurture them, so you're not just going in with the hard sell. Because if you think about it, if you're introduced to a brand by someone giving you a free sample, you'd be like, ooh, that's nice. And then if you hear from somebody else, one of your friends, oh yeah, recommendation, I really like this brand. You think, oh yeah, I like them because I was given da-da-da. And it starts to build and build and build. Then when you get an advert from them that says, hey, would you like to buy this thing? You're like, I might do. It's not as creepy. It's not Rolex in the raincoat. Now, one thing to add to this before I move on to the next point, and again, this could be an entire series in itself. Do not get sucked in to Mark Zuckerberg's little cash cow technique, which is the little button underneath a post that you put up on Instagram or Facebook where it says boost post, and they take your hard-earned cash and get it in front of a wider audience. I don't think I've ever met a single person who's done that and has seen any return on investment. Okay, so a little practical tip for you there. If you're going to go into doing Facebook or Instagram ads, social media ads, do some research and hire an individual or an agency who has gotten real results, because it is an absolute art and science being able to run successful ads. And if you DM me, I will tell you the people that we have worked with who are fantastic. Okay, so finally, final one. Common mistake. You're just being impatient. Now, I have seen people put posts up saying, someone needs to help me. I have not had a single sale on my website. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And they're in a real panic. They're having a real flap. And you say to them, well, how long have you been up? 3 days. And I just think, well, for fuck's sake. Anyway, I cannot say it enough. The build it and they will come thing is not a thing. You create, test, tweak. Create, test, tweak. It's putting things out there. It's seeing what works. If nothing's happening, you try again. You ask for help. You look at the analytics. You work out where people are dropping off your website. You retarget them. You offer them freebies. You offer them. There are so many different things that you can do. But you have to accept that it is not a one and done thing. It is going to take some time. And it is going to be worth it. And I know it's so frustrating when you are in this very, very overwhelming first few steps of running your business. Before you make those first sales, before you're able to scale in any way, it can be an absolute minefield. But just know that by doing all of the work that you've done so far, you are absolutely smashing it, right? Getting started is one of the hardest parts. So if you're facing these problems, if you're not making any sales and you're working out how to solve that, congratulations, you're already fucking miles ahead of most people. All right, darlings, do not lose heart. It'll all work out if you just stick with it, stay consistent. Don't freak out. It won't be tumbleweed forever. All right, that's it for me for this week and for this series, two-parter. I will catch you here next time.
Got an idea for a maverick business of your own? Learn how to build a powerful brand that will get people obsessed with our online program, not just a pretty logo. You'll learn a simple step-by-step framework that will kickstart your killer brand and help you find your raving fan base. Find out more today at strangecreativestudio.com.